My name is Brendan Stow, and I am a visual artist based in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I use augmented reality to share my art with more people. So, how I discovered Spark AR was I actually started on Snapchat and I made a lens, and I was like, hey, that got viewed by 1,000 people. I should make more of that stuff because usually my artwork doesn't get seen by that many people. So then I made a few more, and then it was like 10,000, like 20,000, and then it started going up like millions of people, you know? So one way which I use Spark AR is one thing I've done before is I'm actually in my art studio right now. So one thing that I've done is I've taken like a LiDAR scan of my art studio. And so as you can see, this is the studio. One interesting thing is you can see like the inside out version of it. Anyway, one way which I've used Spark AR is to visualize this art studio in augmented reality. So this gives the user a bit of an immersive experience compared to looking at a photo on Instagram. Basically, Spark AR has and other platforms have enabled me to reach a lot more people with my artwork. And there's many different things that you can do with it. I think in the future, no industry will be unaffected by augmented reality because it has a use case for many things. It's like a really good way of communicating information, and we can use this to teach people, express ourselves, reach new audiences, and spread information. And what I'm planning for the future, I'm going to be continuing to work with augmented reality. Moving forward with augmented reality, I'm going to be continuing to create different workflows with my artwork and augmented reality. So I'm thinking about pretty much a lot of different things. Digital fashion could be interesting, like the ability to wear your artwork. And it's going to be a lot different when the glasses come out. Since I'm already wearing glasses, why would I not infuse them with technology? A lot of people, they don't know if it's going to be a thing or not, but I think that the AR glasses are going to be a really big thing. And it's going to change everything because then you have two hands free. With a traditional AR experience where you're doing this, right? You're holding your phone with one hand and then you have your other hand. But if you're wearing glasses, then all of a sudden, you can augment your world, and then you can use your hands to manipulate that augmentation. So just imagine what that is going to be like. For example, imagine if in Blender, this will be augmented reality one day. You wear glasses and you can see this stuff, and instead of seeing this gray background, that's just the world around you. So that will definitely be a thing. It's just a matter of how long it takes to get there, I guess. But that is basically a brief introduction to myself and how I'm using augmented reality. How I learned Spark AR was probably pretty unconventional. I just went in there, and then I didn't know what I was doing at all, but I just kept pressing a lot of buttons. And I was like, okay, that's what this does, and this does this. And then when I do run into problems, that's when I'll look up on the internet, okay, how do I do this? Or why is this not working? But I think it's really fun to kind of take like an intuitive approach to things, similar with my artwork. I don't like plan out what I'm gonna make. I just do it, and then I kind of run into problems, and then I have to solve them. So I have a similar learning style with these AR platforms. I basically just immerse myself in the program and then like figure it out as I go. And if I do run into problems, like I said, I just look it up. There's also the Spark AR Facebook group that's like a really good resource. And on the Spark AR website itself, there's learning resources. So if you are trying to learn more about AR, that's a good way. And then if you are interested in the LiDAR stuff, like how to get this stuff into augmented reality, I do actually like have, well, maybe we can add a link or something, but I have some tutorials on the internet about how to do this stuff. And a lot of this stuff, it kind of builds on top of each other, you know, like if you learn how to use Blender, a lot of the tools in Blender transfer, and same thing with the Adobe Creative Suite. So you kind of start to learn one platform, whether it's Spark AR or Lens Studio, Blender, Photoshop, After Effects, and all these programs kind of share similar aspects, and they kind of build on top of each other until you kind of, so now what I'm trying to learn is Unity, because I want to develop AR experiences for the App Store. So that's like a big learning curve, but it's good because since I know some of these other softwares, it's like a little bit easier to learn that stuff. So it all kind of builds on top of each other, like slowly. I think it's still really niche, like right now, but it's becoming adopted more mainstream. For example, like Tiffany & Co. is like, they have an AR experience, and a lot of these brands are like discovering that augmented reality is like the new way of capturing people's attention. And especially you have this kind of generational gap of like people my age and younger who have like grown up like with augmented reality in a way. We're really used to like looking into the device, and then you have like people, and it's not true for all older people, but if you're 40 plus years old, a lot of these people, like my dad and mom, they look at it's like they're looking at a flat screen instead of like being inside of it, right? But it's like every month there's like more and more brands starting to create augmented reality advertisements, and once it's really adopted by like the biggest brands, then everyone's going to follow along. And especially when it comes to glasses, like when the glasses do happen, then it's like there's no choice. Like you have to develop for AR, because that's just going to be all there is, really. But at this point, it's just like a waiting thing. Like, and it hasn't really become easier. There is a lot of people are like creating resources to kind of build this economy of creators. For example, there is a platform called Cross Creators. They are working to like kind of like build a community of freelance developers and connect brands with creators to create these advertisements. And then another big aspect of it, there's a lot of things, but digital collectibles will be like a thing soon, and that is like going to be part of Spark AR. And I don't know how that's going to play out. There's a lot of controversy around like the idea of owning a virtual object with NFTs. A lot of people are like have this big aversion to NFTs. I personally I like NFTs, I don't actually own any NFT. I like the concept of it. And it's not that I like or dislike it as much as it's inevitable, I think, to have virtual objects. When we do have glasses that augment the world, it's not going to be a question of like whether you own this object, because if I can like spawn something into the world that you can see and you can't do that, then it's like, well, there's not a debate of whether I own this object or not, because you can't do that. But that's still going to be like 10 years. The glasses are just barely like good at all right now. You know, they last, the battery on the pair of glasses lasts like 30 minutes and they overheat. Like the viewing angle is really bad, but it's not about like where it is right now, because the idea is there, and now there's like people, we're like creating this community of people, everyone is like kind of like starting to watch, and like there's hundreds of people working on these projects, and it's just going to become like way bigger than like anyone can foresee, I think. So that's like a really interesting topic that I think about a lot. I think basically virtual reality will be like not obsolete, but like, yeah, exactly. Like you said, they're gonna like converge in a way. But so the difference, I think, is like, I imagine two devices basically. I don't know if you're familiar with it's called Meta Cambria, I think. And so that is an augmented reality headset, right? And that's like a big device. So just like we have this, you have like a laptop and a smartphone, right? So they're both like the same type of technology. They're computers. They're not spatial computers, but they serve different purposes. You don't want to bring around your like whole desktop to like a park to text your friend. It just doesn't work like that. So just like we can't use these more intensive softwares like Blender, you can't use that on your smartphone. And the trade-off is that you have a portable device, right? But it's just not as powerful. So I foresee VR and AR, they're going to become the same thing. Basically, like right now, you see with the Oculus, there's like pass-through technology. It's just really like not that good yet. But the pass-through is going to become better and better until, I mean, this is all just like a speculation. Who knows if this is going to happen or not. I just think it's going to become better and better until like you can see all the way through. And but then the other thing is, I think there's going to be two types of devices, right? So you have like your home device, and that is going to be where you get your work done, right? So like a bigger kind of like augmented reality headset where you can, maybe it has haptics, right? So then you can like really have this like tangible and like do 3D modeling, and there's all types of things. So that will be similar to the HoloLens, right? You don't want to bring you're not going to be wearing a HoloLens like on a walk. So then there's this other path, and that is like the spectacles, Snap spectacles, and the Ray-Bans by Meta. And right now the problem with those is there's not a problem with them. It's that they're just like a camera. It's pretty much just a camera attached to your glasses, and there's like a tiny computer in there. But what we want is like a huge computer like strapped to your head, like but you don't want it to be huge. You know, as the technology gets better, we always see it starts out really big and then it gets smaller. You know, like a computer used to take up the size of a whole room, and now it like fits in your hand. So one day we'll be able to fit what's inside a MacBook Pro like right on your face. So imagine what you can do with that. That's gonna be crazy. I don't even know. It's gonna be it'll be 10 years, but I think in 10 years it will be here. Like something really cool will be here. And then once people have it, then it's gonna just be like everyone wants to do this. Like it's the coolest thing. Imagine when the iPhone was released. That changed everything. The touchscreen. And I can't believe this has all happened, like, not even, like, this is all in the last 50 years, and even shorter than that. So just imagine what we will be like in the next 50 years. I don't know.